I am Jamie Ruby from Sci-Fivision. Thanks for talking to me.
Hi.
So
Jamie.
obviously this tells a very important story, but it's got a lot of difficult subject matter. So can you three of you talk about some of the things that you found difficult emotionally to film? We'll just go in order: Sheria, Austin, Sophina.
Well, I think that American slavery is horrific, and I think that there are a lot of things that we had to film that were paled in comparison to the real atrocities of slavery that were super impactful. Without giving too much away, I'll say that there was a lot of grief, there was a lot of loss, there was a lot of violence and brutality. So when filming any iteration of those things, it was really tough, and we had to like call upon our ancestors to imbue us with the strength to do the work earnestly and honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I think what Brandon, our incredible showrunner, is interested in is not only telling the story authentically in terms of the physical brutality, but also the emotional violence of slavery and some of those nuances. And so I think there are things in this series that are depicted that are ways in which slavery is an assault in ways that we don't normally think about, or ways that aren't always depicted in these stories or depicted in textbooks. And so for those days, sometimes it was just the emotional toll, and the emotional stamina that you really had to take care of. But what's so amazing about this cast and this group is we're so attentive to each other and so in tune with each other that we really just supported each other and held each other up during those moments.
Yes, everyone was on mission and everyone felt as though this was a gift and an opportunity to serve.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of balance what you pull from the book and the script versus what you added creatively on your own to your characters?
Well, for me, my character is not in the book. Olivia is a creation of Brandon Jacob Jenkins, who does so with so much care to expand on some of the themes that Octavia already talks about in her novels. So the way that I approached the character was, she reminds me of every woman that I've ever known. She is a woman who is fighting for her survival. She's fighting for her stake in life. She's on mission to get back to her daughter. So there are certain things that seemed so familiar to me in building the character, but also reaching back from all of the women whose shoulders I stand on to elevate her and bring her into a greater light.
Yeah. I mean, similarly, Luke reminds me of my grandfather. Luke reminds me of stories I've heard from family members who I never met, or from stories we heard from some of my family members who remember their family who were born enslaved. So there's a lot of personal history, personal experience that you're pulling from, and honestly from your imagination. Ultimately your imagination is going to fall short in terms of like the actual horror of slavery, but I think you're really trying to go as far as you can to honor the struggle of our ancestors.
Yeah, one of my favorite things was the days when I would actually be saying dialogue that was from the novel, that Sarah said in the book, and there were a lot of those moments that Brandon tried to bring forward as much as possible, because he was so set on just remaining as true and always going to Octavia Butler's page for guidance. And so those were really fun moments for me, having read the novel, and then also when things would come up in conversation in other scenes that I knew had something to do with me because of the novel. Does that make sense? Seeing these little like Easter eggs in other people's language, where I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. Oh, yeah, okay. I think that's actually hearkening back to like my husband that is mentioned in the book that we don't really see or hear about in the series. But things like that, it was really, really cool. The book was always alive and on set with us.
Very cool. Yeah, I want to read the book now. I really have enjoyed it. The beginning that I've seen so far. I hope you guys get a second season. I want to know what happens.
We hope so too.
Can you talk a bit about the costumes, because obviously they're beautiful. Can you talk about how that sort of informs your character, because it's a big part of it?
Jacqueline Banner created the costumes, and she is so amazing. Her attention to
Incredible.
detail, unparalleled. It really put us completely back into the 1800s, for me at least.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I remember one of my early fittings, and I put on the costume, and I said to Jacqueline, I said, this is actually crazy because this is exactly what I imagined.
Oh, wow.
It felt like, I told her it felt like a pop-up book almost. It felt like I just opened a book and this 3D version of Luke was like standing in front of me in a mirror, and it was so important and so helpful. There's a costume I wear in an episode that, you know, that took us, you know, a while to shoot, and it just, anytime I put that costume on, it was almost immediate. I was immediately, you know, where my character needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the costumes really affect you. And one of the things that, you know, Atlanta in the summer, she's not cool by any means, and so we were in triple digit heat, and you know, the garments of the enslaved people, like for example, we had stockings. These thick socks that would come up to, you know, mid thigh. And I remember just there was one brutal day and someone was like, just pull down your stockings. And I was like, absolutely not. Because I you know, it's like you wanted to be like, nope, I'm in this. Like, you know, that's not an option right now. And especially cooking in front of the open hearth with that fire on the triple digit days or whatever. But not a sock came down.
No.
I'll tell you that much. No, I mean, every attention to detail like that, it was really incredible.
Well, they look good even if they're hot and uncomfortable.
Thank you.
For whoever of you wants to answer, what's kind of like a lesson that you learned from your character about yourself that you were taught?
Wow, that is good.
Yeah,
So many.
I think one thing I learned, and I think I'm still learning from Luke, is that you cannot please everybody all the time. You sometimes have to make a difficult decision that will not only affect you but will affect other people, and you have to be okay with that sometimes, because you don't win all the time. You don't, and life is full of hard decisions and difficult calls, and even with the best of intentions, you're going to make a decision that might be painful, but that's just part of life.
And we live in a very like selfish culture. So for me, in a time when it's all about me, I think Olivia has taught me about selflessness, about what it means to put others' needs ahead of my own, and has also taught me that the greater need supersedes my own, supersedes, you know, whatever personal need for the collective. It's greater.
Yeah.
There's a greater, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, all of you. I appreciate it. Like I said, I hope you get another season.
Thank
you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
read the book.
Have a good day.
Thanks, you too. Take care.
Bye.